So if you spent the last hour meeting somebody, can you raise your hand if you met someone new today and hey, okay. Can you, right here in the red blazer, can you tell me who did you meet and what did you learn new?
I met a bunch of people, but I met Andre, acting Spanish. I met Javi.
You got his government name too. You got introduced as a whole new person today. We absolutely know where to find you from your family. Anybody else meet someone new? Who did you meet and what thing do you remember?
I met someone named Lori, and she's actually a TV producer and a public speaker.
Lori's a TV producer and a public speaker?
Yes.
Where's Lori at?
I think she's getting food, but I told her to link up with you afterwards.
Thank you. Come on, connection. This is what we're about. When we got started today, there was a lot of things going on in the mix. So again, I just want to amplify that this event was a labor of love and truly out of vision and out of a need that we. Get your steps in, sir. Get your steps in. Come on. He's so shy. Hey! Come on.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Are you guys learning something today?
Yes!
Remember, we want you guys to learn something. We just don't want stories, we want nuggets. We want you guys to walk away with something you use tomorrow to better yourself and better your business. Amen? Amen. So I want to introduce someone real quick that he started at the Flirt Podcast Studio a few months ago. He already had a YouTube page, and his subscribers were only at 136, even though his show was great. It was amazing. But he had to switch things up. And we actually met through Facebook Marketing. I was buying his microphones for Flirt Podcast Studio. So I want you guys to put a big hand, have your hands really big for Mike Hammond! Come on, Mike. Come up here. So, Mike, come up here. Before Melissa kills me.
Yeah, already. I gave him a mic and he was.
So, Mike, tell them a little bit about your show and what do you do, and tell them what your past job was.
Hi, I'm Mike Hammond. I'm a retired homicide detective with Chicago Police Department. Appreciate that. We all appreciate that. So about a year in January, I started a podcast based on my pushing of my daughter, who was here earlier, but she's a real estate agent. She had to go close up a house she sold. But Zoe Barron and Zillow. But so anyway, I'll make this short. I know we got busy evening, but I appreciate. Carlos, it's hard to quantify, but I can quantify in numbers for you. I walked in his doors where I had 130 subscribers. I had done a lot of video casting, mostly audio podcasting, but I started to build some traction there with people. And the reason I got into this, Zoe talked me into it. Said, Dad, I listen to true crime.
Good. As long as I don't fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Don't fall for me.
Give it up for Melly, y'all. She's been doing a great job hosting.
I have ribs. I don't know what to do with myself.
Also, give it up for the man who I felt like I don't want to say met my match, but he held me accountable on Thursday during our dinner. And I'm a guy that's really passionate, and I fight for what I want, and we have to be that. All of you are entrepreneurs, I'm sure, and we work really hard. But he gave me a nugget on Thursday, and he kind of like stunned me for a second. I'm like, man, okay, all right, I'll be ready Saturday. I got you. But for Carlos, man, this guy, Flavor, man, I just met him Thursday. I know him on social media, and his energy, his drive, everything that he's about. Really, I commend you, man, for doing something like this. It's hard, to do this, to take a leap of faith, to, just to reach out to people, and then the most important thing, give opportunities to everybody to network. That is so huge. A lot of people don't do that, and it's just
you're awesome. So thank you for what you do, Carlos. Appreciate you.
Okay, slideshow.
Hey, I was told, man. Told to be prepared.
Okay, presentation.
Tony Lopez. Okay. If you really care to know, my name is Tony Lopez, but they do call me T-Lo. And sorry for my students, they've had to hear this for the 40th time. Jennifer Lopez is my sister's daughter's wife's cousin's sister's sister. Whatever. Cool. Also, shout out to my students who are interning for Carlos from the media school. I see y'all in the building. You did a really good job helping, I heard, so the report was really nice. My name is Tony Lopez. I'm Puerto Rican from Humboldt Park. Give it up. We in here.
Yeah.
But I grew up loving sports, and I went to church all my life. I was a musician, as Melody was saying. Growing up in church, I played in church, did my thing. I loved it. Musician is like my number one thing, right? I love playing music, and I produced 2 albums. Loved it. But one thing I had in my head was to be a sportscaster. I wanted to talk sports. I wanted to talk on the radio about the sports. As a matter of fact, to give you a quick insight on this really lame story, when I was young, I would watch the Bulls games, then I would turn on the radio to listen to the post-game report. I would call the radio, I would take my boombox. Boombox, anybody? We good? Yeah. Woo. I'm in here. Sorry, my students don't know about that. But I had a boombox, and the boombox I would record over my dad's cassette tapes on band.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Hit record, call the station, record the actual radio station, right, as I'm on the phone with them. And then of course stop on the cassette, and then go back to my room, hit play, and say, right, isn't that nice? Isn't that a beautiful story? Creative. Yeah. Funny enough, when I was younger, I also played this game called NBA Jam on Sega Genesis. Come on, somebody. NBA Jam. My favorite team was the Charlotte Hornets and the Bulls, of course, Bulls. But Charlotte Hornets, Larry Johnson, come on, Muggsy Bogues, Kendall Gill, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Alonzo Mourning, absolutely. So I would, just growing up loving sports. Well, when I graduated high school, I was in a financial business. I was in financial business for a while. I was a personal banker for over 10 years as a day job. But I decided to go to school, and I found Illinois Media School at the time. It was called Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Went to school for sports and radio, and I ended up doing TV. Crazy. The game changes. It's just one of the things that you don't really realize. But I got to internet at Comcast Sportsnet Chicago, which is the picture you see right there. Very skinny, no body fat T-Lo in the picture. I thought it was Tony Gonzalez. I thought it was too. But I got a chance to intern and do online content for them, which was so dope. I was able to go to all the games, Bulls, Sox, Bears, Cubs, you name it, I did it. And on top of that, once I did the internship, I was very, very persistent and consistent, which is really what I want to talk about today in my message, the art of consistency, which is lacked in a lot of different places. But I was able to do online content for them, and as a matter of fact, I did have a video, but I'm not even going to play it. It's just me reporting for the station. It was a lot of fun. I was at all the different ballparks, White Sox, Bears, Cubs. Fun times. I really enjoyed my time though at Comcast Sportsnet because it taught me a lot, and it was the beginning of my journey of consistency. I cannot tell you, when I was an intern at the station, before I left the internship, I said bye to everybody, even the janitor. And I'm not lying. It was a pleasure working with you. Pleasure working with you, janitor. It was a pleasure working with you. And he would look so confused, but I just said bye. And I was able to also, on top of that, I emailed the news director for 3 months. I'm not lying to you. I sent my resume every single time. The same message. Hey, this is Tony Lopez. Just want to let you know I'm available for work, and here's my resume, and blah, blah, blah. And he did email me back 3 months later and said, don't send your resume again. Come to the office. So anyway, got the gig. Loved it. It was crazy. On top of, after graduation, I was able to work with the school back again, and I started doing student services. So I started to find student internships, motivate them and things of that nature outside the campus. And I had worked with them for about 3 years. And in the middle of that journey, I found out a lot of different things. I found out how important it is for you to to motivate, but to also to reach out. And during this time, after, it was 2013, after I worked for the TV station, after I worked for the school, I found myself in a rut, telling myself, I just wasted my time and my money. I'm sure we've all been there before with something in your life where you felt like you wasted your time and your money, your efforts. And I really dug deep and said, you know what, I learned skills at the school. Wow, what am I doing? I should be putting them into practice, and I should really go out there and create my own content. And so that's what I did. I ended up doing my own TV show, I had sponsorship. I reached out, just being consistent with just doing what I had to do in regards to living. Like I had to, no one's gonna do it for me, right? No one's gonna do it for you, you know that, right? So you have to do it. So I ended up doing that, and I was able to be successful on a small realm from that portion of it. But teaching was something that I ended up doing out of nowhere and being consistent with it. Back in 2016, the school hired me to teach, and I had no clue how passionate I was about teaching someone how to stay motivated. I'm about to give you a lot of basic, just vocabulary and basic tips, but really the basics is where everything is at. Like we can talk about, yeah, you gotta do this and and get deep with it, but it's really, the art of consistency is basic. It's basic to me because the conversations you're having today, which I've seen during break, was like, I met Sandra today, right? Sorry, Nelly, I meant to raise my hand about that one. But it was, the conversation just can be so simple to say, yeah, this is what I do, and it can evolve from that. I talked to all these students, I talked to so many people from different backgrounds, so many people facing challenges in life, and I don't know how, but I had my own challenges, and I was still motivating students to say, listen, man, you got this. Like, you just learn all this, the skill set to put this together, so what's holding you back? You know how to do it, right? So yes, maybe finances are always gonna be there, right? They're always gonna be an issue, or always gonna be an impediment for you to get to your goal, but you can still do it. And I found myself loving to do that, and so I met so many awesome people along the way. Since 2016 to now, I had to meet over 2,500 to 3,000 people in that school with so many different backgrounds. And I love how when they come in, they're so hungry to figure out what they want to do. And it's good to see them do it, right? From the first step, from the beginning stage to when they get the jobs. Like, it's such an amazing feeling to say, man, I had a part in that journey. And so the consistency in that, in teaching and motivating, has been so awesome for me. And I'm gonna talk about that in a second. But it's been so awesome. I got to take them on different TV stations. As a matter of fact, this TV station I used to work for, at Comcast Sportsnet. They're no longer existent, by the way. They're called Chicago Sports Network. I don't know if anybody knows that, but it doesn't matter. But there, I was able to take them around and teach them and do this, right? I told the school, hey, listen, there's a podcast summit. I want some of you to intern. I want some of you to come out. And the people that are here are the ones that are hungry, and I know they are, all right? And that's what it's all about. But then came this, and the art of consistency is consistency. I know it's crazy and kind of confusing, but let me explain. I started a podcast with Kendall Gill, right? And Kendall Gill's a former NBA player. As a matter of fact, how we met was kind of funny. This was back in 2010 when I was working for them. I'm printing out script for the anchors, right? That was my job at the time, and make sure they had stats. And Kendall, it was for the Bulls pregame show, and Kendall was sitting down at one of the desks, and I'm about to bring him his script, and he's like, yeah, man, I love boxing. And I was like, you love boxing? What? And boxing's my second favorite sport. I was like, Kendall, what you know about boxing? He goes, what you know about boxing? I'm like, oh, whoa, okay. So let me tell you what I know. So we start talking. He was like, yeah, my favorite boxer is Tito Trinidad. And I said, what you know about Tito? And he was like, what you know about Tito? And I was like, I took out my Puerto Rican flag, and I was like, all right, let's talk. Let me tell you what I know about Tito. Wet pop. Anyway, so we had like a 30-minute conversation about Tito Trinidad, and just craziness, right? But I had no clue that he loved boxing, and so we had this conversation. The conversation literally led to, like, we need to do a show, and I'm like, yes, we do. Whatever you want to do, let me know. And I took the opportunity, and I said, you know what? We're gonna do a show, and I know that I'm gonna have Kendall Gill in the show. great. But I know that's not going to be the selling point of the show, right? It's not going to be, we're going to have Kendall, it's going to be great, but there's got to be something extra. And so we fiddled a little bit. We did some watch parties. We did shows. We posted them on YouTube. We did the normal thing. When you do a podcast, you put them on the platform. You put them on Spotify. You put them on YouTube. You put them on whatever you need to do, right? And they're going to keep you, right? You can do this, this, and this, but you can only do this. I'm going with you. And so I thought about this aspect of it when I did the show with Kendall. And so from the podcast, I started branching out to, you know what, let's do some watch parties. Let's do the show from a venue. Let's advertise the venue. Let's bring people in and out from the venue, right? The networking portion of it. On top of doing that, we had a really big mindset of how